Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. I'm your humble host, the Yamin of Revolution, the Mississippi White is Right, Scam Nolan Wells friends. Use his name, the Prophet. Before we get into that, let's make sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. The hardest working revolutionary in the business is back with some revolutionary news y'all can use.
This is the most disgusting and disgraceful thing that I have reported on since the beginning of this Nolan Xavier Wells case. Nolan Wells' former friends have started a give, send, go. And some of you may be thinking like me and questioning, why give, send, go and not GoFundMe? Well, sit tight because I have the answers to that question. And while we are answering questions, I'm also going to let you know why it is a stupid idea for Warren's dad to sue attorney Benjamin Crump for defamation. And then we will close things out with a message from Mama Nolan. As always, shout out to Miss Christine. There has been a ton of developments over the past 24 hours in the Nolan Well case. Sit back, relax. I'll tell you everything you need to know, and then I'll hand it off to you, the out louders. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Nolan's former friends are attempting to raise money, and I am here to call them out on their BS. You'll see this screenshot right next to me, and you'll see presently 10 minutes ago, they have raised $65,000. Now, also in this screenshot, you will see at the top corner, give, send, go, and not GoFundMe. And right away, I asked why. Then I did some research. Sit back and let me break it all down for you. And I will prove that this is nothing more than a money grab from Nolan's former friends. We're no longer calling them his friends. Let's start out with the three main differences between GoFundMe and Give, Send, Go. GoFundMe is the largest, most mainstream crowdfunding platform, whereas Give, Send, Go is smaller, Christian-based, and is also a crowdfunding platform. Second difference, GoFundMe, more aggressive content moderation, whereas Give, Send, Go markets itself as being more supportive of free speech, y'all know what that means, and less likely to remove controversial campaigns. Right away, that explains everything, but hold up, it gets worse. GoFundMe has stricter rules for certain legal defense and controversial fundraisers, whereas Give, Send, Go has become known for allowing many controversial fundraisers that other platforms reject, provided they comply with its policies. Give me a break. Now, let me give you some information that I got from a lawyer, a legal mind, one of my defense attorneys who I trust with my eyes closed. Notice how I threw in my lawyer there? That was just a subliminal to Nolan's former friends who watch my videos. Come play with me if you want to, all right? Okay, now, before I read to you what my lawyer sent, I just want to give some context. I will read the description that goes along with this fundraiser. But important to note, this fundraiser was created by Benjamin Hudson, which is Warren's father. And it says here, fundraiser funds will be received by Taylor and Cox Law Firm. Now, they are saying that they are collecting or raising this money to fight potential lawsuits. I'll read the description in a second, but that is all we need to know. They are claiming that this money is to go to fight lawsuits and potentially sue content creators like myself and others who are ruining their lives, okay? Now, let's go back to notes that my lawyer sent me. We do not have evidence that every dollar will necessarily be spent on a lawsuit. The page says the funds will be received by Taylor Cox Law Firm, PA, but it does not say all funds will be exclusively for litigation. What happens if there's no lawsuit? What happens to unused funds, or whether the law firm is holding the money in a client trust account? A few things stand out immediately. The fundraiser was created by Benjamin Hudson. Okay, fine. The funds are not being paid directly to an individual. Okay, we know that. This does not tell us who ultimately the beneficiaries are. It only tells us who is receiving the funds. The law firm could be holding the money in trust for one client, multiple clients, or using it to pay legal expenses for several people. We don't know. A few possibilities exist. The money is held by the law firm in trust for legal expenses. This is common when raising money for anticipated legal representation. If legal fees arise, the funds are used to pay them. Okay. Some funds are used and some may remain. Depending on the agreement between the law firm and its clients, any remaining money could potentially be returned to the client or clients. Whether that happens depends on the fundraising term and the attorney-client agreement, neither of which we have. Meaning, we don't know what is going on. And if you see here, and it says depends on the fundraiser terms. I already explained to you how lax the terms are on Give, Send, Go. What if no lawsuit is ever filed? That alone does not mean the money automatically goes back to the donors or automatically goes back to Benjamin Hudson. It depends on the campaign's statement purpose, the Give, Send, Go terms, and the agreement with the law firm. Very, very gray and very, very ambiguous. I did not find any language in the campaign that states all donations must be spent on lawsuits. Unused money will be refunded to the donors. Unused money will remain in the law firm's trust account. Or what happens if no legal action is ever filed? So based on what is publicly available, we simply do not know what would happen to any unused funds. Now, let's go to the description from this Give, Send, Go. And I'm not going to read the entire description, one, because it's very lengthy, and two, because there's a lot of things that they're saying in here that I feel are not true, and I am not going to platform their message and send out what I feel are false statements. I, however, do want to highlight a few things in the description and then show you how disgusting they are, the manipulation tactics that they're using, and the fact that they are using Nolan's name literally put me over the edge. Okay, here are some highlights. They talk about media, YouTubers and stuff that are, saying things about them and they're ruining their life. And they go on to say, the boys have been falsely and wrongly blamed by individuals online and in the media of either directly or indirectly having a hand in Nolan's passing. Most of them could not even attend their own best friend's funeral. Why? Because race baiters sent a deranged army after them, the boys, online in the name of justice. Jump a few lines further, and they go on to say, countless large voices across social media declared them guilty, the boys, of crimes they could not have committed and have never been charged for. Excuse me. How are these crimes that you could not have committed? How is that possible? Do you see the manipulation there? How is it impossible for you to have committed these crimes, sir? First thing I need to call out. Their names, faces, and personal information were spread across the internet. Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and the usual suspects of social media personalities, national news media, and local provocateurs continue to invent and spread false narrative and lies with no accountability. This is a typical tactic of Ben Crump and the like. They come to communities like the Gulf Coast under the guise of seeking justice, but it has become painfully clear that their vision of justice is stirring division, ruining lives, and then leaving when the money is dried up. Excuse me. They are on here claiming that we, YouTubers, social media platforms, and news people, Benjamin Crump, we're claiming falsehoods about them. But is this not them claiming falsehoods? Aren't they claiming falsehoods about Ben Sharpton, Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, they are stating as facts that it's become painfully clear that their vision of justice is stirring division, ruining lives, and then leaving when the money is dried up. That sounds like an accusation to me, sir. And here is where the manipulation comes in. Our first goal is to raise money to defend these friends, former friends, against incoming wrongful class actions filed by attorney Benjamin Crump and his team. Incoming does not mean anything has happened yet. So why do you need the money? Well, hold on. Let me cook. If litigation becomes necessary, meaning the fact is there is no litigation. So why is this money sent to these lawyers? And I already let you know what happens if there's no litigation. There are no terms that says the money has to go back to these donors. So they are literally telling you right here in black and white what is really going down. Oh, and it does not stop there. This is not about silencing legitimate discussion or respectful disagreement. People are free to ask questions and express their opinions. Is that not exactly what Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump has done? Please send me a clip or anything, a print or whatever, where Benjamin Crump is not literally just asking questions. I don't even think they've even expressed their opinion towards the boys. They're literally just asking questions. And if anything, 100% sure Christine and Elmore have just been asking questions. And I have something later on that will reiterate that. So once again, they are caught in falsehoods. They go on to say, we know the risk some of you may feel outwardly supporting Warren, Jax, Morgan, and the others. Here's the manipulation. Watch it. Well, watch it start heating up here now. We know that although you know the truth, publicly supporting these young men may cause social discomfort or cancellation. Watch here. This is how manipulators work. Watch the warm up now. But we also know that you're tired. You're tired of the lies. You're tired of the hate and division. You're tired of judgment before all the facts come out. And here's where it gets laid on. But this is it. This is the moment and the cause that can help make a difference for you donating. This is it. After years and years of you being so tired, this is the moment where you need to donate money to us. This is crazy. This is the moment and the cause that will help make a difference. Not a difference just in these boys' lives, but as a message that we are all tired of the grift. Your donation says that enough is enough. Your donation says enough is enough. No, your donation is going to their law firm that and going to Give, Send, Go that has no terms that say, well, if we don't need to spend this money on litigation, it could go who knows where. That is what your donation is saying. And it's not saying it's enough is enough. If you want to say enough is enough and you want to feel that way and you feel tired, please express that on your social media. Express that to your friends or your neighbors. You do not need to donate to these rich people to say enough is enough. This is crazy. And I feel so bad for the people who got caught up in this manipulation, because I know how manipulation works and some people don't even realize what's going on. But it gets worse. This is the part that sent me over the edge. This is the part why I said I need to turn on this camera and expose these people for who they are. The audacity for them to write this next sentence is crazy to me. They had the nerve to say, Nolan deserves dignity, not this. If that does not send you over the edge, I honestly feel bad for you. This is crazy. Nolan is no longer here. We don't know what happened to him. His parents and his family are grieving, and they have the audacity to put Nolan's name in here and say he does not, and he deserves dignity and not this, while they're trying to fundraise money. So although we ask humbly for support to stop this onslaught of lies and defamation, we also ask with as much passion as we can muster, because we too are tired. We too are heavy laden. If you believe in truth, due process, and holding people accountable through the rule of law, and not just through internet mobs, We ask for your support and access to your bank accounts. We want y'all money. This is crazy. Now, let me go on to show you the people that have donated. There's a little drop-down menu. I clicked that and I went to the top donors because I just want to see the people who I should feel sorry for the most. And look what I found. $5,000 from Katie. Now, I think this Katie person is making a joke here. They're trying to do like something funny because we all know that Katie was on the island and they're maybe trying to say that this is Katie. I feel like they're trying to stoke something here. Regardless, they paid $5,000, but just want to make it clear, I do not think that this is the Katie who Nolan was with. I'm not saying it's not her, but I think they're just trying to be funny. Now, I did a little bit of screen record just to show you guys how much people have donated and they're top spenders. I'm going to play it here right beside me. I'm like, some of them I don't feel sorry for because I know they know what they're doing, but I'm telling you, there's some people who are just like clueless out here and are just falling for the manipulation, and feel sorry for y'all. Now, quickly, before I go over to Benjamin Crump and Warren's dad's defamation lawsuit, I just want to show you all that, of course, Officer Tatum, former Officer Tatum, or what we call him on this channel, Officer Dingbat, he chimed in on this give, send, go, of course, because he's part of the manipulation and part of the opposition. And this is just a money grab for them. Breaking news. Nolan Wells' targeted friends, former targeted friends, raised $50,000 in the first few hours of launching Give, Send, Go to fight back. You should have put fight back in quotations against the lies. And this was whatever, I don't know, a couple of hours ago. I've shown you now that it's close to like $65,000. But just showing you how, like, you know, they're sticking together and just helping each other out, right? All right, let's go over now to Benjamin Crump, a very, very important update from a really good content creator on why it's a waste of time suing attorney Ben Crump. Now, in the last video, I let y'all know about Warren's dad, Dr. Benjamin Hudson, and him talking to the New York Post and saying that he may be suing Ben Crump for defamation and slander. And I highlighted the fact that he's saying may, and this is all just a distraction. As much as they could distract the conversation from Nolan's throat and what we need to stay focused on, they will. So saying things like we may sue and we may this, whatever, that makes the headlines. And we're not talking about Nolan's throat. We're not talking about the autopsy. We're not talking about the investigation. We're not talking about the things that matter. And sometimes, you know, I like to play things from other content creators just to show y'all that I know what I'm talking about. I said yesterday, and I'll pin it below, this is ridiculous, you trying to sue Benjamin Crump. Like, it's never going to work. And here is somebody who agrees with me. I will give you some important legal information on why, they ain't never going to sue Ben Crump. It's just a distraction.
Anyone suing Ben Crump for defamation is probably gonna lose. One reason is a legal doctrine almost nobody knows about. There's a thing called litigation privilege. It gives attorneys super broad protection for statements they make while advocating for their clients. And not just in court, but in communications connected to a case. Also, in a defamation suit, the statement has to specifically be about the person who's suing. Crump hasn't been naming specific friends. He's talked about a group of friends, Nolan's friends. That's a huge difference legally. He's been asking questions, but the law doesn't punish people for asking questions. It punishes people for making false statements of fact.
And talking about distractions, I would like to close out this video with a message from my boss, the person who I take instructions from, the one who I tell you every single day in every single video, yo, I am here for Mama Nolan. I take my marching orders from her, and we need to stay on point. Listen to what Miss Christine has to say. Please remember that the focus needs to be on what happened to Nolan Wells, because any other question is irrelevant. You are crazy if you think I'm about to explain anything to anybody on the internet. And you're even crazier for believing people's information that does not know much of anything about me and my family. I have seen so many false claims and statements. Once again, distraction tactics. Hashtag justice for Nolan Wells, forever 18. Shout out to Miss Christine. I love Mama Nolan. Of course, also shout out to Elmore, but y'all know I have a soft spot for, moms out there. Shout out to Mama Out Loud, too, who always support and watching all my videos. I love you, Ma. As promised, I always try to end off with a positive note. It just makes me feel better. Every day I got to talk about this, and I feel sometimes like I lose motivation sometimes. But ever since I've been ending off with something positive, it's made me feel better, and I hope it's helped.
I was just thinking, when you consider all of the murder and RAPE, subjugation, discrimination, atrocities committed by a certain group of people around the world, it reinforces that these people are not in any moral position to judge others, ever. Who am I talking about? Christians. Christians. Yeah, fam. I'm talking about these good old Christian people in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, who feel that Christine Wansley and her husband, Elmore, is somehow ruining their lives and disturbing their peace in their tight-knitted community. Yeah, even Trayston jumped on the Officer Race Batum Tatum's show and said that, Ben Crump and Al Sharpton don't know who they're messing with. Salute. We know who they're messing with. They know who they're messing with. They're messing with a bunch of uncivilized mutts who pretend to be part of polite society. Yeah, I know you. I studied you. I know you. I know you don't like what I just said. I know you don't like it, but I studied you. And if you don't like it, why not just change the behavior? Like, if you don't like being called a racist, why do you work so hard at being a racist? If you don't like being called an uncivilized mutt, why do you work so hard at being one? That trying to target Ben Crump and Al Sharpton ain't gonna fly. We know that you might have your issues about Ben Crump or Al Sharpton, but it ain't because they are making the country divided. This damn country don't need no help being divided. It's on autopilot. Yeah, that kind of right. Divided. This country don't need no damn help being divided. It's on autopilot. This country don't need no help being divided. It's on autopilot. Boy, don't get me started, fam. I can go there, boy, if I want to. But anyway, man, back on topic. Let me get focused. So recently, Christine felt so disturbed by some of the messages that she's been getting and the threats on her and her family's life, the disrespect, even from Nolan's so-called friends with their passive-aggressive message on their Give, Send, Go, that she had to respond. We'll go to the Give, Send, Go after I let you guys check out what Christine recently wrote on her Facebook. If advocating for our deceased child to have a fair, honest, and transparent investigation while asking local authorities to treat his case as if it were their own, makes you feel some type of way, please unfriend and block me, because this is my social media page. We are not asking for special treatment. We just want the truth. His father and I will not stop searching for the truth. Nolan Wells, Nolan Wells, Nolan Wells. I ain't got no problem with that, but some of y'all do, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, fam. There's Nolan and his mother. Yeah. I want to show you somebody else, fam, that they seldom actually talk about. And you might not know that he even exists if you didn't see him on pictures from time to time. Yeah, that's his father, Elmo. 100% involved in his life. Now, I get it why people talk about the mother a lot, because the mother is more vocal on social media. She is the one who is usually, making videos or giving us the update on what's going on with the case from the family's perspective, right? She give us as much as she can share with us, without tipping their hand. So we do appreciate that. But I just gotta put Dad out there and remind people that this boy was raised by his mama and his daddy, right? His mama and his daddy. Yeah, see, they always like to just talk about the mama. Even in these, when you watch sports, especially like football, I remember back in the day, they used to have these Campbell commercials. And every time they have a commercial, it's always the boys with their mother, not the father who probably actually taught them how to play football, or at the very least, where they got their genetics from to play the game so well, right? It's very seldom talk about the black father, but when the other ball players, would be highlighted, they just show the whole family. It's always the whole family. But when it's the black youngsters, the black athletes, it's always just the mother. And I want to appeal to you young black athletes out there right now. Don't let them fools hijack your family unit like that. Don't let them do you like that. Don't let them clowns play you like that. Because they will say, hey, we want to like to get a picture of you and your mom, just you and your mom over here. Hey, you think your mom would be interested? They don't want no parts of your daddy, because your daddy is the one that's going to be a little bit more suspicious and protective, in regards of seeing the BS. He going to see the BS oftentimes quicker than mama gonna say. Not to take away nothing from mama. Mama brings something to the table like daddy brings something to the table. That's why you got mama and daddy, so you can have that balance. And they try to take away the balance, right? They try to take away the balance by removing daddy. So don't you ever let these clowns out here take away your daddy shine, or try to minimize your important. Because what they do when they take away your daddy, when they pull your daddy out of the equation, they're really putting a light on you and saying that, yeah, your mama's boy. You was just raised by your mama, and your daddy didn't have no input. Therefore, you probably is missing something. This is the perception that people have of young men who are not raised by their fathers. And I'm one of those young men who were raised not by my father. By the grace of God, I figured it out. But damn, boy, I had a lot of holes in the armor, because I did not have that experienced male role model in my life. So all you youngsters out there, man, you make sure y'all stay close to y'all daddies. I got it. If he ain't nothing. That's cool. That's different. But daddy been there for you. He rocking with you, man. You make sure you put dad in the front. Make sure he got some tickets to the game too. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's move over here, fam. Look at this. So this is Nolan's so-called friends who started a Give, Send, Go, and they won $100,000, and they've already raised $79,000 just overnight. This is less than 24 hours, right? around 24 hours. They raised $79,000, right? Now, what the hell they need $79,000 for? Well, according to them, they want you to stand with Nolan Wells' targeted friends. These are the guys who are getting attacked online. They're experiencing defamation of character. People are threatening their lives. And this money is going toward a legal defense or legal remedies to help them get people off their case, right? They got a legal fund. They say they got them a legal fund so they can go after people and hold them accountable for threatening their lives and pointing fingers at them and suggesting that they may have had something to do. So really, this is a scare tactic campaign. This is a scare tactic campaign. This is to try to scare everybody into not talking about the case. This is to try to scare everybody into not talking about the case. That ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. The trip part about it is they raising funds for some type of legal defense or something, they say. They're raising money for themselves. None of this money is going towards the Nolan Wells family. None of the money is going towards Nolan's family. It's going towards for them. It goes in their pockets. None of this money is going towards Nolan Wells' family, their so-called friend who they love so much. The money ain't going to that. It's going to them. They're going to put that money in their pockets. They can raise money for themselves, but they can't raise money for the funeral of Nolan Wells. I bet you they didn't put a nook. They didn't send flowers or anything. I guarantee you they didn't send flowers. Let me tell you something, fam. Even if that's your friend, if it's your friend, if Nolan was truly their friend, and they had nothing at all to do with his murder, why not at least show up in the form of some type of representation, send some flowers at the very least? I know y'all don't like me. I'm not gonna go. I'm not going because I don't want to be attacked. Somebody might go crazy on me. I know they saying we did it. I didn't do it. We had nothing, at least I didn't do it. I ain't had nothing to do with it. I don't know nothing about Nolan getting killed. So, but they saying I do. I don't. I don't feel comfortable going to the funeral, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna still send some flowers. And I'm gonna send my condolences. That's what I'm gonna do. These people who are harassing Nolan Wells' parents, they got the devil in him. They're demonic. They claim to be good, loving Christian people. But remember, the same good, loving Christian people bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The same ones bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma, claim to be good Christian, loving people. The same ones are responsible for the redlining, Jim Crow, crack epidemic. The same ones are responsible for the Tuskegee experiment. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Trail of Tears, same ones. So I don't want to disrespect the true Christians out there, the ones who are true believers. I don't want to do that. But the rest of y'all can kick rocks barefooted in the dark, blindfolded at a concrete plant. No more talk.
Even expected that they would have did using his name for financial gain. You guys are not going to believe this. Come on in, like the video, and let's get this party started.
Yeah. Okay, I'm listening. Go on. Yes, I'm typing it all down.
Let me go look this up myself. Nolan Wells, fake friends, because these are not friends. Now they are using his name for financial gain. Keep in mind, they did not show up for the funeral, and with their different recounts of what happened, this is low. So this fundraiser, according to what is being reported, it was created by Benjamin Hudson, which I believe is the father of one of these boys. Look into what they, say, guys. This is so unbelievable, but not unbelievable. Stand with Nolan Wells' targeted friends. Now, let me just say this. We learned a lot about Nolan, but one thing we never learned about Nolan is who his real friends were. Because based on what I've heard, I have yet to see a real friend of Nolan, okay? So they use Nolan's name for financial gain. They say stand with Nolan's targeted friends. Nolan didn't have any friends. That was probably the one thing he did not have. But let's get into it. It says on Independence Day weekend of 2026, lives were changed forever when a group of friends lost their best friend, Nolan Wells. Nolan Wells was not your best friend. In fact, I think they hated Nolan. No family should have to endure the pain of losing a son, and no friend should have to grieve the loss of a brother. Yeah, but you didn't even show up at the funeral. Don't believe it. Again, as I told you about these white tea people, this is what they do. Now comes the, they got to now make themselves a victim. But instead of being allowed to mourn, what followed was an unprecedented online campaign of accusations, harassment, threats, and defamation. Whatever. Since Nolan's death, Warren Hudson, Jax, Morgan Seymour, and many others have been inundated with, they say, threats and violence, defamation. They have been falsely and wrongly blamed by individuals online and in the media of either directly or indirectly having a hand in Nolan's death. I believe people are saying this because the stories don't add up. Let me give you an example. If you tell a story and you continue to tell the story and you continue to change the story, you did it to yourself. I digress. They are playing victim. Most of them could not even attend their own best friend's funeral. You didn't attend the funeral because you didn't want to go. Why? Because race baiters sent a deranged army after them online in the name of justice. Since the beginning of the investigation, these young men have cooperated with authorities, turned over all the information they had, and provided an overwhelming number of witnesses accounting for their whereabouts. Some of them even resorted to speaking up publicly to defend themselves against baseless allegations. But unfortunately, it has become clear that the truth doesn't matter. Countless large voices across social media declared them guilty of crimes they could not have committed and have never been charged with. Well, we did hear the audio. Their names, faces, and personal information were spread across the internet. They and their families have received thousands of messages, whatever they say they receive, calls, I don't know. They have been threatened online and in person countless times. How have you been threatened in person, sir? Call the police. There has been threats of harm, whatever they're talking about. Y'all can see it on the screen. I'm not reading that mess. Parents have feared for their children's safety. Lives have been turned upside down, and some have had to go into hiding. I mean, it is something called the police. If somebody is threatening you in person, come on now. Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and the usual suspects of social media personalities, national news media, and local provocateurs continue to invent and spread false narratives and lies with no accountability. This is the typical tactic of Ben Crump and the like. They come to communities like the Gulf Coast under the guise of seeking justice, but it has become painfully clear that their version of justice is stirring division, ruining lives, and then leaving when the money is dried up. We have seen this same pattern time and time again. Now, this is defamation. You see how they always switch stuff around? This is defamation, and you're begging for money. Most recently, during the Carmelo Anthony trial. What does Carmelo Anthony have to do with this? No matter what anyone believes about an ongoing investigation, our legal system exists for a reason. Evidence belongs in the hands of law enforcement and the courts, and not in online mob campaigns fueled by rumors, edited clips, edited audio, speculation, or misinformation. This must stop. This fund is created for the sole purposes of fighting these individuals. Well, you probably, I digress. I mean, if you don't have the money to fight them, then maybe don't. Begging for money on the deceased person that you were with and the reports are conflicting is nasty work. It's nasty work. This is a mess, okay? I'm just like, what is going on? Our first goal is to raise money to defend these individuals and they call themselves friends, but we know that they're not, against incoming wrongful unaliving actions filed by attorney Ben Crump and his team. Our second goal is to fund a robust legal team to sue for the litany of slander and libel being spread by not only Crump, but also many social media influencers, outlets, and local provocateurs who know better. Listen, people, don't stop talking. Don't make up stuff, but don't stop talking. As an individual, you can say from my perspective or what I believe. What you shouldn't say is just making up stuff. But based on everything that we have, you most certainly can give your perspective. Keep doing it because there is a reason. Isn't it odd though? You threatening to sue people and you don't got the money. You probably should get the money first. It would make sense. I mean, to create money, begging and grifting, and then threatening to sue people, that's just real nasty work. I digress. If litigation becomes necessary, the fund will help provide the financial support needed to investigate claims, retain legal counsel, preserve evidence, and hold accountable those who cross the line from expressing opinions into conduct the law may recognize as actionable. In any jurisdiction we find, express your opinion. Nobody can tell you not to. This is not about silencing. This is definitely about silencing legitimate discussion or resentful disagreement. People are free to ask questions and express opinions. This is about drawing a line against defamation, targeted harassment, threats of whatever, intimidation, whatever, these victims. I'm going to skip on down to this line. We know the risk some of you may feel outwardly supporting these white tea boys, but it says Warren, Jacks, and Morgan. They don't mention anything about Bart. Interesting, huh? We understand, but then anyone that threatens that threatens you face. Let's reread that. We understand better than anyone the threats you face. We know that although you know the truth, publicly supporting these young men may cause social discomfort or cancellation. But we also know that you're tired. You're tired of the lies. You're tired of the hate and division. You're tired of judgment before all the facts come out. Did this case create hate and division? It seems like it was already there. I mean, based on the call where we can clearly hear Nolan gasping, the call is not fake. You're tired of seeing these dividers get away with it time and time again and feeling too powerless or voiceless to stop it. But this is it. This is the moment and the cause that can help make a difference. Not a difference just in these boys' lives, but as a message that we're all tired of the grift. Tired of the grift? And you're grifting? Y'all are nasty individuals. You cannot make this up. He said, tired of the grift while asking for money. Y'all are some interesting individuals. Your donation says that enough is enough. Your donation says that the time of exploiting a tragedy under the guise of justice and leaving a community in ruins after squeezing as much money out of it as possible is over. Nolan deserved dignity, not this. Nolan deserved better friends, because had he would have had a better group of friends, there would not be an audio that exists that's saying, is he dead? Is he dead? I mean, I'm just saying, he needed better friends. That is why he's not here. So although we ask humbly for support to stop this onslaught of lies and defamation, we also ask with as much passion as we can muster, because we too are tired. We too are heavy laden, but right is right and wrong is wrong. If you believe in truth, due process, and holding people accountable through the rule of law and not through internet mobs, we ask for your support. We ask for you to get a damn job. I mean, why are you seeking whatever you're seeking if you don't even have the money to pay for it? Only white people do that. That's stupid. So I'm just going to scroll through, some of the things that people are saying. Somebody says, my kids have always had Black friends. I thought I was just raising really good kids, but apparently, according to Nolan's mom, I was putting a target on their back. If anything ever happened to their Black friends, what a weird world to live in. All while grifting, asking for money, saying that you've been targeted and attacked, but yet targeting and attacking the mother in the comments. Y'all cannot take these people seriously. So I'm just looking at some of the comments here. I wouldn't give them SHIT. Okay, SHIT. These people are disgusting. So they have grifted $19,431, asking you all for $100,000 using Nolan Wells' name. Y'all, we cannot make this up. And this is why I tell you all, it's so much that we can talk about with this case. We don't need to make anything up because there's so much. So your mammy is a judge. Your father is a doctor. And you guys don't have money to pay for attorneys, but you're threatening to sue people. Yeah, you need to get your head examined, because this don't even make sense. And then online begging for money, all while people are donating, talking about the mother of the deceased. Y'all, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Make sure I'm sorry, I clicked that too fast. Make sure you guys are liking the video. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys do that. I wasn't going to jump on here today. Like I said, I'm
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. I got the number one troublemaker in the country online right now. Look, you stirred up a wasp nest. I mean, all you was doing, I guess, was just trying to get to the truth. Just because there's a lot, as I said, there's a lot of interest in this case, and for you to take it upon yourself to go in and say, I can do something about this. I want to use my skills to really listen to what's going on. When you first started cleaning that audio up, was you doing it just for self-satisfaction, or was you saying, I'm gonna clean this up so the public can really like hear what's going on? Or when you cleared it up and you heard it, did you, before you cleared it up, was you just doing it for yourself? And then once it got cleaned up, you said, you know what? I think the people need to hear this.
When I was cleaning it up, what made me clean it up is because when I heard it the first time, when I heard it that morning, I have no idea when it was released, but when I heard it that morning of the 26th on Sunday morning, I heard some things that was already standing out to me even before cleaning it. And those things that I heard was already concerning, like it was troubling what I thought I was hearing. So initially, when I was cleaning it up, it was really for me to try and get clarity on some of the things that I thought that I was hearing. But once I started cleaning it and some of those things actually stood out, and I actually started realizing like, I think this is exactly what I heard. That's what made me want to put it out, to just make sure I'm not tripping. Like, y'all be the judge. This is what I heard, but don't take what I'm saying as facts. Like, I want y'all to listen to and see, like, let's converse about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see what y'all think y'all are hearing. But that's where that came from.
Now, before we go any further, this is one of the questions that your detractors want to know. What qualifies you to clean up this audio and for us to trust that you know exactly what you're doing? How can we trust you with this audio enhancement?
It's what I do for a living. It's literally my profession. I have a bachelor's in music production and a master's in entertainment business. But with that bachelor's in music production from Full Sail, they also taught, audio engineering and things like that. And so today and for the past decade, I've been doing that for a living in post and TV, where I clean up dialogue, I enhance and edit dialogue for a living. I do sound design. I do everything that comes within post-production work is literally what I do for a living, and have been doing that for the past 10 years.
And what did you do to enhance the recording? Did you add anything?
I did not.
Simply remove the background noise?
The only thing I added was gain, and gain is to just basically enhance the volume. That's really it. Like, I subtractive EQ'd, which is I subtracted some of the frequencies that I didn't need that was making it more difficult to hear. And I boosted some areas of the EQ, but adding anything or altering or doctoring anything, as they've been saying, is just completely false. Like, I literally used VSTs or plugins that any engineer has access to, and not even just music and sound people that work in film, editors have access to the same thing. EQ, gain, compression are like the main three plugins that are typically used. And those are the main three that I used, staying completely away from AI.
Right. Now, I'm not trying to put anybody on blast, but it just appears to me that, look and listen, this is a shoe fit wear scenario now. If the shoe don't fit, you shouldn't get offended. But it just seems like to me that a lot of the hate, it ain't even just associated with the fact that you did something that could possibly point fingers at certain people. It appears to me that a lot of the hate comes from the fact that some people think that things are not authentic unless white people approve them or white people do it. I do believe, I believe that if you were a white woman who presented this enhanced audio, I think that it would be more accepted by mainstream, and I think they'd be all over you. But because you are a Black woman, they're trying to discredit you because they can't stand that Black excellence. Yeah, they can't stand it, man. It kills them that you beat them to the punch. That's what I saw. You beat them to the punch, and you reminded them of how brilliant Black people are. That's right, I said it. You reminded them of how brilliant Black people are. And that underscores the fact that a lot of them fear us because they fear what we would become if we had the resources. You had the resources to go in there and enhance that audio, and look what happened. This is what I want to know. I see Nancy Grace interviewing everybody. I mean, she interviewing everybody she can get her hands on. I think I saw her interviewing a dog watcher, but just anybody. She's just grabbing them, snatching them everywhere. And I'm hearing people talk
Revolutionary salute to our brother KT off the record for the 10 jewels to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate that love, soldier. Salute.
Nancy, Auntie Nancy. I'm getting some feedback on maybe on your end, I think. Did you hear that? Did you hear any noise? Oh, so I'm hearing some noise on my end. Let's see if I can clean that up and stuff. I don't know see if I can get on my audio engineer cleaning. Okay, but it's still happening. I need to ask the comment section, are they hearing feedback? Are y'all hearing me fine? Are y'all hearing us fine? Because I'm getting static. Give me a thumbs up if y'all can hear us fine. You hear it? You good? You good? I hear it too. Oh, somebody hear it? I hear it. Okay, they're hearing feedback. We can't go through it like this. Are you sure it's nothing on your end? Y'all, the devil to make that full trip around the sun.
And I enjoyed myself too. I'll take the big ones. Big ones. Okay, big ones. Can you see the chat?
Can I see the chat?
You sure?
Okay, we good.
Yeah, I'm an engineer. This is what I wear anyways.
Okay, we good. Okay, now we good.
They
Okay,
match.
all right.
Okay, got it.
So how do you respond to the people out there who are saying that the actual audio is fake and it's been manipulated?
Honestly, I'm trying not to respond as much, other than when I put that video out of me actually showing from top to bottom how I went to YouTube, downloaded the source from there, pulled it into Logic, and just did some quick little things, quick little processing to show that I didn't do anything fraudulent. I didn't add anything extra. I didn't commit alchemy or do some type of magic like I did what anybody can do. And so at this point, it's like their own biases, and they're just doing what they do best. People are peopling.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Being an artist, I'm not as skilled as you are with audio engineering and cleaning up stuff like that. But I got enough skills to, if I had thought about that, I would have went in and tried to do it. I would have went in. I was like, "Oh, that was brilliant of you to actually, like, with all of the thousands of people who are engineers out there. Like, it's like nobody either bothered, or they said or they said that or they didn't think about it. But you had the presence of mind to not think about it, just think about it, but also act on it. And when you did, boy, you talk about stirring the pot. Now, I asked you about Nancy Grace, that's where we got, we started, the sound started breaking up. But going back to Nancy Grace has interviewed everybody she can think of. And what I want to know is, have you received any communication from her? Has anybody from her team reached out to you?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So what's going on with that? Are you talking to them? Or you already did it?
I will be talking to them. Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, okay, I won't belabor that then. I'll get on off the gas because I'm like, because I'm like, anybody reporting on this, anybody who's serious about getting some answers, if they're not reaching out to you, they ain't serious. I can't take them seriously. And that's including the investigators. Has any investigators reached out to you? Anybody from the Ocean Springs Police Department?
No.
Anybody from the FBI?
No.
See, I can't take them seriously. Like, if they're not reaching out to you, I cannot take them seriously.
In part, I feel like there's really no need to reach out to me because what I have access to is they have access to. And not only that, they have way better equipment than I do. The FBI, they actually have audio analysts that can do what they're supposed to do. And so there's really no need to reach out to somebody that I took it up on myself because I wanted to hear what I thought I was hearing. And I just wanted clarity on it. But what I did and what I have, they can do themselves. And so that could be part of the reason why I haven't been reached out to them. I haven't been reached out.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I like your spirit.
Thank you.
I like your spirit. I like your spirit. You're an extremely humble, yet skilled person at what you do. It's very difficult to find that balance. I like you,
Thank you.
Okay, so when we look at how this audio has affected people's temperaments, some people have came for you. They come for your family. They're trying to put you on blast. They're trying to dox you. How has this affected your family and your life?
It's a bit overwhelming, but it doesn't stop the fight. Like we all know, a hit dog will holler, and to me it seems like something was thrown and multiple dogs was hit at this point. And at this point, I can't do nothing about how they react. Like I said, the audio was already released, and so if anybody should be mad, they should be mad at the CETO company and MDMR who put it out there. Everybody had heard it. Even before I cleaned it up, there has been hundreds, if not thousands, of people telling me, I heard some of the same things too, even before you cleaned it. And some of the things that they didn't hear at first, maybe be like 2 or 3 things that I brought more to the forefront. But the super majority all agreed that they were hearing these things, even in the original audio. So that being that, and then on top of that, I think from a psychological standpoint, like behavioral psychology, it's if you're going to attack someone over seeking justice, that says a lot to your character. Because Absolutely. I didn't do nothing wrong, although something wrong has been done. And the reason why myself and others are acting out on it is because we're seeking justice. We want to figure out what happened, what was done wrong, why is this person no longer here? And so I kind of let them do what they do. I kind of let the hate pile up because ultimately I'm working on my end to make sure that I'm moving in accordance to who I am and standing true to what I know to be true to self. And I don't want to say too much, but at the end of the day, just me and my wife, we are taking it easy while also responding to the misinformation and correcting what we can correct in the meantime, while still trying to figure out what happened to Nolan.
Right. You said that there was 2 or 3 things that you hadn't heard prior to cleaning it up. What were those 2 or 3 things that you hadn't heard?
Can we cover it up? I didn't hear that. as clear as I did at first. Damn it, Bart, Nolan's really dead now. And everybody that's on this boat is, I think he said everybody that's on this boat is fucked, if I'm being honest. But that, and it took for my wife to help me really bring that out. Like, you know, he's saying something and he's saying it with his chest. Because at this point, either that's a intimidation tactic or it's a way of letting everybody on the boat know that we're all in this. So everybody is aware of something. And that's without me, you know, placing blame or guilt on a single person. That's just me being aware that they are aware of something happening.
And when you're hearing this, what's going through your mind? When you first hear this, like, what's going through your mind?
I had a bit of mixed emotions and reactions in that moment, honestly. And that's what took me so long. It wasn't the process of cleaning it and enhancing it, because that's actually pretty quick. Like I do that every day. But it was what I was hearing. A lot of people think that I did it to point the fingers or to blame the friends, which that was never my stance. And I never even made any statements alluding to I'm blaming the white friends as it's being said about me. I literally did what I did just to hear further what was going on in the background. I wasn't doing it intentionally to go try and find something, because that's completely out of my league. I'm not an investigator. I'm not a detective. I'm not in that lane. I'm an audio engineer, and by profession, I am trained to literally listen for noise, clean up noise, enhance dialogue, clean dialogue. And so my mind, as I'm sitting there, I'm doing what I do on a day-to-day basis. And so when I heard certain things, it started feeling like you're watching a movie and your favorite character, you see the antagonist is setting up your favorite character and now they about to get got. Hearing some of those things, it hurt. I wasn't expecting to hear a female voice. Can we cover it up? Yeah, I thought all about that. Like, I remember, like, my mind was like, wait a minute, what? I must have I looped it and played it so many times. Like, am I hearing it? Like, I can't believe it was like a bit of, I can't believe I'm hearing this. And am I hearing this? Trying to trick myself out of not wanting to believe that that's what I was hearing. And that to me is the I guess the craziest part of this whole ordeal, because where the hate is coming from, they really think I did that to try and set these friends up. But it's like, no, I did that to just, like I said, bring awareness to what was happening in the background, because I was shocked that nobody else had really made note of that, or it hadn't been mentioned to the public that that file was being investigated or looked into. So yeah, hearing those things, it really did, it disturbed me. It was mentally and emotionally taxing. I had to take my headphones off and take a break from it a few times. And that's why the first time I originally released only 37 seconds of it, because I was just out of disbelief. And that's why I stopped at, damn it, Bart, Nolan's really dead now. Because at that point, that name was brand new to me. I asked my wife, like, who was Bart? Like, where did this name and where did this person come from? And then when I played it for her, and she was like, yeah, and why would they say Nolan's really dead now? Like, that insinuates something, like dead now, like something was going on and now they took it too far. Like, he's really dead now. And that hurt, Willie, like that really hurt to hear that, because that was not on my mind, body, heart, or spirit to hear anything like that at all.
Do you have any fear that they will try to come after you right now for any being liable as far as defamation or whatever? Because right now they're trying to spook all the content creators, anybody that's pointing the fingers at the evidence or pointing the fingers at them, that where any evidence might be connected to them. They're trying to pretty much get their names out of people's mouths unless people are saying something nice about them.
I think most of it has been just cyberbullying. if anybody was going to reach out to me, I think legally, on like the legal side of things, if anybody on the legal side, the attorneys and stuff, if they were going to reach out to me, they would have been done it if I truly did anything wrong. And so, like I said, I'm just taking my time in that aspect, because at the end of the day, I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't point the blame at anybody. Even when I put the video out, I said, you know, this is just my interpretation. Like, I want y'all to listen to it and y'all be the judge. Like, you tell me what you heard. So I never really blamed anyone. It was more so to open the door for the conversation to be had, because a lot of us heard something. A lot of us were also told that Nolan decided to stay behind. So he shouldn't have been on the boat to begin with. We shouldn't have heard his name being yelled. And that was one of the things that stood out too. Like, just hearing Nolan, hearing the screams of his name and Nolan, don't die.
Did you expect?
How are we going to yell something like that if he's not on the boat?
Right. Did you expect your work to become so controversial?
I didn't. My wife did, but I didn't.
How long did it take you to decide to put it out, from the time that you heard those words and you were certain what you were hearing was those words? How long did it take you to decide to go public?
I'd say maybe like a hour or so, because I made a post that morning about what I had heard and how it was already concerning and questionable to me. And I said, you know, and this is coming from a professional audio engineer, and I haven't even touched it yet. So imagine what I'd hear when I, you know, clean it up. And when I made that post, that kind of gained traction and a lot of engagement. And there were people saying, hey, sis, we waiting on this cleaned audio. And so I was going to go ahead and, you know, be a woman of my word and stick to what I said and clean it. And when I cleaned it, I sat and spoke with Ash. I spoke with my wife, and I really put thought into it. Like, how should I release this? Should I share what I think I heard and open the door for them? We discussed confirmation bias. Like, we literally weighed out all the options and put real deep thought into it. We kind of discussed, like, we knew what was going to come with it, but I had no idea it would be to this capacity. But I sat with it for at least somewhere between an hour and two before I actually uploaded it.
Right. So what kind of steps have you taken to protect yourself? I saw that you guys started what it was some type of crowdfunding. What was it?
Yeah, Give Send Go.
It was Give Send Go. Next time y'all do any type of crowdfunding, go to Unite Give. Look it up. But anyway, rooted in justice, the real deal, and you ain't gonna get kicked off the platform because of your opinions.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right. So check this out. So now that the cat is out the bag, and you know, and people are coming at you and everything, like, what steps are you taking, you know, to protect yourself and your family? Now, also, what's that Unite? Well, what's that Give Send Go?
What do you mean? What is it?
What is it? Like, what's the title of it, so people can go and donate? Give Send Go, right?
It's I don't know the title of it. My wife created it, and it's basically in the link of all my bios across social media. Let me see.
Hold on, I'm gonna get you.
Support for our family after threats and hate.
After threats and hate, yeah. So, sure, yeah. So that's the Give Send Go. Y'all go over there and support that. Go over there. Now what are you gonna use the funds for?
Legal counsel and security if need be. And that's what we're doing. The steps we're taking now to make sure that we remain safe is we're actively looking into just an attorney that's not just any attorney, but a good attorney, like legal counsel, to make sure that we go about everything the right way. Like I said, in security for the most part. I've been telling people, I never did any of this for no type of monetary gain, nor was I thinking all of this was going to come from it. This was actually, go ahead.
No, you finish it.
And I was going to say, this was actually suggested by supporters saying that, you know, they want to support, they know how people are, they see the hate, they see the threats, they see what we're going through, they see the doxing and things like that. And so they were saying, yeah, no, y'all need to go ahead and try to obtain legal counsel, because this is not fair and we want to support in any way that we can. And
and I'm glad that they did suggest that, because let me tell you something. We got to get used to the idea that nothing is free. Not even activism. You know, freedom ain't even free, right? Freedom is not free. Peace is not free. You got to pay for that. And we got to get used to it, because the uncivilized must understand. When they, it don't matter it don't matter what they do, they're going to find an audience who is going to immediately support them. I don't care how diabolical they are. It don't matter if they're dead to the left. They're going to find an audience of people who are going to go out there and raise 100,000, $500,000, $1 million for them, because they understand that they have a particular agenda. And as long as somebody is supporting that agenda, then they're going to support them. So if our people are supporting a particular agenda that keeps us safe or protects us or paints us in a positive light, if our people are under attack, we have to understand that we're under attack. If it happened to them, it could happen to us. When our people fight back, we need to make sure that we help fund their legal defenses, because they're going to always come for Black when you fight back. So we got to get used to that notion, be on automatic, on code, automatic, on code. And we got it. We got it. It ain't got, everybody got $5. Everybody got $5, got a hot five. Everybody got a hot five. You know, everybody got a hot five, hot 10. We got it. We got it. We just got to get used to, looking out for each other, because we on our own out here.
We all we got.
We all we got for real. And we got to get used to that notion. You know, when I heard that audio was cleaned up, I went straight to it. And when I saw it was a sister, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. And then when I listened to you break it down and you talked about why you did it, and I heard you talked about the steps that you took, because I understand, I use logic too. So I understood when you said that, I was like, yeah. And I already knew it wasn't manipulated, because you wouldn't put yourself out there like that. You know, like you said, the FBI don't have to call you because they got the same tools or even better than you have. You know, and audio enhancement tools. So if it's there, they're gonna find it. And I'm sure if they're interested in hearing the cleanup version, if they're interested in it, I'm sure that they already know what it says. They know, right? Mm-hmm. And it's no way possible that you can have that audio like that and not be making an arrest. And yeah, I said it. I ain't scared of you, motherfucker. I ain't scared of you at all. Yeah, I said it. Ain't no way possible you got that kind of information. At the very least, everybody on that boat got to be investigated. At the very least. One of y'all killed him. I don't know which one, but one of y'all killed him. That's right, I said it. One of y'all killed him. I don't
on
know.
Everything. That's exactly why I did it.
I don't know which one, but one of y'all killed him. and because it's more than one voice being heard, it's more than one person that's an accessory to that murder. And so that's why people are talking. That's why people are asking questions. That's why people are pointing fingers. If you don't want them to point the finger at you, then tell what you know. Come clean. And any of y'all out there listening to me, all you lawyers out there that's representing the boys, right? If you're representing, then you better go get your client. I know it's Mississippi and y'all thinking y'all gonna get away with whatever you did. If you're really in the wrong, you think you're gonna get away. But let's say God show up and somebody get held accountable. You want to make sure your client gets the best deal possible. So you need to go talk to your client and say, come on, man, shit, they ain't buying it, man. They ain't buying it. They ain't figured it out. Come on, let's get a deal. Let's try to get a deal. Get your client a deal right now. Y'all know whoever go to the authorities first and tell what they know going to get the best deal. You get to control the narrative. You don't want to be sitting, laying up in the house, sleep or whatever, and they come knock on the door, or you don't want to be out there on the boat again and they come out there, sir, come with us. You don't want that to happen. Right now, you got control of how it go down. Go in there and walk on in there right now and say, okay, let me tell you, I'm gonna come clean. It's been messing with my conscience. I've done a lot of stuff, but I thought I'd be able to get away with this murder, but it ain't gonna work. So I'm telling you what I know. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's how they would say it. Jeanette, I don't know that's how they'll say it, but it should go something with that. That's all I'm saying.
Something
like that. And I am saying that thank you absolutely for coming on the show, and thank you for the work that you put in. What you did was historical. Some of us intentionally go out and try to get and be included in history and get in the history books. You put yourself in the history books. That right there, what you did, you put yourself in the history books. Boy, I wish I could have became a legend without even trying. I had to go work for mine. I had to go work. But you know what? That's your cumulative work, because you've been doing this. You know what I'm saying? And boom, something like this happened and you wasn't even trying. That's for all y'all out there that's doing your thing and you're thinking about giving up or whatever. Just keep on going, stay in line. Because if you move your meat, you lose your seat. So just stay in line, and eventually your time will come. Janetta, I appreciate you. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Natalie. Yeah.
Has hired an attorney because content creators are doing what now? Because it looks like Bart may be hiding something. And if you don't believe me, believe this.
He came up with when he cleaned up the audio in a different way, as I just explained in what he wrote.
How far is the word coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Angles?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just thinking. I don't know. We're just.
So cover up. It's looking like a cover up, y'all. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm listening. Go on. Yes, I'm typing it all down.
We're not backing down. We want to know what happened to Nolan Wells. Now, if you guys recall, this audio has hit the internet, and a lot of people are stepping up, sound engineers, and they are pulling the authentic sounds out of this particular audio. And if you guys don't know what audio I'm talking about that CTO call. So it appears to me that individuals are doing damage control, because if we don't understand everything that took place, what is clearly able to be made out on the CTO call is that Nolan's life was taken on that boat. We can't fake the call. The call has been authenticated. We ain't going back and forth about this call, but it looks like people are trying to cover themselves and, hey, let's get a lawyer, let's scare some people. We ain't scared over here, okay? Let's get into it.
Just said something incredibly disturbing, and to be honest with you, since I've heard it, it's just really disturbing. I've really been struggling. It is the clearest, most enhanced version of the audio CTO call that was released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. This is unlike anything I've heard before. Someone reached out to me and sent it to me. I have verified that this person is who they say they are. They're an audio engineer with 20 years experience. They do not want me to share their name. I do know who their name is. I do know exactly who this person is. I don't know them personally, but I was able to confirm that they are who they say they are. And what is coming out in this audio, it's really disturbing. So I'm going to play that audio for you, and I'll let you come to your conclusions as to what you hear and what it means. I heard it, and it is disturbing, but I'm gonna play it for you and let you come to your own conclusions of what you hear and what it means. But before I play it, I want to read something to you that came directly from the person who created this audio. I spent some time with them on the phone today just to make sure that they're actually a credible source to do this. And in that conversation, I asked him, what did you do that's different from what other people have done to make the quality of this audio better? Because I wanted it to be credible, and this person explained to me in writing what they did. So I'm gonna read to you their explanation, and then I'm gonna play this audio. Trigger warning. I'm gonna play this audio so you can hear it and come to your own conclusions. But first, it's kind of a long explanation, so bear with me. I'm gonna read this explanation that they give, and then I'm gonna play the audio for you and let you come to your own conclusions. So here's what he wrote. I am a professional audio engineer with over 20 years of experience. When I first reviewed the audio file, I realized that when I had on headphones that the dispatcher's voice was only playing on one side of the headphones, and the caller's voice and their background were on the other side of the headphones instead of everything playing on both sides like with normal music. It sounds like the agency uses either a gate or compressor or both, because the volume naturally goes quiet when there's no one speaking, but it's still able to record audio because the gate threshold isn't set lower to allow no audio when no one is speaking. This also means that the noise in the caller's background was loud enough to engage the gate to all this audio to be recorded, even when the caller is not speaking. This is actually the best way to capture phone calls for quality assurance. What this means is that you can hear the caller's audio and the background noises all on one side. So using the caller's audio as a starting point, this will produce something similar to Janetta's outstanding results, which I have repeated and can confirm that it's authentic. Additionally, when you listen to the call, there are a few instances where the dispatcher is talking and there's lots of noise coming through from the caller's return audio, meaning even though he's not speaking, whatever is loud enough on his end to be heard and gets recorded along with the dispatcher. What I have done differently was to focus channel 1, the dispatcher, and then selected any areas that I heard more noises than just the dispatcher. When I worked on raising the volume in these areas by applying gain, which is essentially raising the volume, this worked in areas where visibility, no audio can be seen. But the audio is actually there, but doesn't show up visually until you raise the volume. I did this individually on any area that looked blank. And I also applied this to areas that were simply low in volume, essentially making everything near the same volume level. Doing this reveals more of what was actually recorded. Absolutely no AI was used. Only normalize and gain was applied via iZotope RX. Not sure what that is. I'm not an audio engineer, but iZotope RX. No other tools were used. All basic audio programs have these two functions, and it doesn't falsely manipulate anything. It just raises the volume level. Now I have applied lots of gain because the voices are sometimes faint. So when more aggressive gain is applied, you start to hear the syllables in the words a lot better. Visually, the final audio file looks like what we would call as engineers too hot. But this isn't a regular recording. It's from a telephone, which only has a limited spectrum of sound. Normal audio, like from a lavalier or podcast mic, would not be able to withstand this amount of gain. This is something I learned when engineering music for major labels. Now, I primarily engineer audio for TV commercials, city and state initiatives, as well as podcasts and interviews. I also do videography to keep the lights on. In my opinion, the clips are still noisy and a lot more can be pulled out, but the intent was to prove these pieces of audio exist. I don't want any reward. I'm not curating an audience. I'm just rattled after taking the initiative to see what I could do and finding what is unimaginable. I was already nearly done with the entire call when Janetta released her work. And respectfully, I fell back because I had already released a few short clips. However, after Janetta's backlash, I decided to publish my full version of the call. I initially called Ben Crump's office before releasing a single piece of audio, but after a few days with no response, I decided to go at it alone and started releasing short clips and eventually the entire call. When I went back and I started refining my work because I realized I missed a few areas where I did not apply gain and new voices and sounds appeared more clearly. This does take a while to go into each little part, but the results is something easier to listen to. It's not perfect, but I also know the law enforcement has a lot better forensic tools for audio iZotope RX. Surprised they haven't done this already. So that's him explaining what he did. I'm now going to play that audio for you that came from him doing all the things I just read. Again, trigger warning. This was really, really jarring, but here is what he came up with when he cleaned up the audio in a different way, as I just explained in what he wrote.
Oh my God, how far is the word coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Angles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just thinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
So now we know why he didn't know what was going on with the boat, because you all heard it. I don't need to repeat it. It's disgusting. It's the effort head is what they said. So just so you all know, all they did was pulled up what was faintly being heard. Various engineers have said the same thing. The audio is not fake. But now we got the father coming out saying, I'm going to sue. That is to try to intimidate people to not talk about the case. We're going to continue to talk about the case. We want justice for Nolan Wells.
Yeah. Okay, I'm listening. Go on. Yes, I'm typing it all down. Hey, what's up, you guys? Listen, a breaking update in the Nolan Wells case. There apparently may be a fourth boat. Now, what are we basing this on? It's not just conjecture or speculation. There is real photo evidence. We will show you that there is a fourth boat. On top of that, TMZ has an interesting article that seems to be hinting and trying to move toward that. Why is a fourth boat important? Because it shows that there may have been an adult on one of those boats. And when I say adult, I don't mean Bart. I mean an actual adult on one of those boats. On top of that, there is a political connection that appears to connect the governor and Turning Point USA, two people involved in this case. You guys, hold on. I guarantee you by the end of this video, you will have a different perspective and have more information to answer the question that everybody wants to know. What happened to Nolan Wells? First of all, before I present the evidence of the fourth boat, I'm going to show you that in a second. Let's get into TMZ and the way TMZ seems to be soft launching this. Listen to this. Actually, no, let's get into the proof of the boat. And then we're going to get into the TMZ article about the way they also appear to be soft launching it. Now, keep in mind, TMZ seems like they are highly sympathetic to Nolan's friends. Highly sympathetic to Nolan's friends. Could be a coincidence, but you know the way TMZ gets down. Anyway, let's get into the evidence about the fourth boat, the possible adult, a maybe cover-up, and the political ties and connections. Interesting enough, wasn't Warren's daddy up there screaming, this is a political conspiracy? I bet you think it is, because y'all know maybe what's going on your side. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. All right, let's get into this. You guys, turn your volume up, and if you can, look at your screens. We are bringing in Nerdy Pink Panther 1 on TikTok. Make sure you give her a follow, because I think she did an excellent job of assembling all the information. Let's go.
Not only have I found more evidence of a fourth boat, not only have I found a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA. So first off, this picture has surfaced in which it's clearly the group of boats a little bit further out in the water altogether. Now here's what is supposedly Bart's boat. We can see the Garmin on top, can confirm this black boat from this other picture. We can see Wyatt's Triton right here, and we can confirm that by the motor. As you can see right here, has that black stripe on the white motor. Now in between the two boats is the Palm Beach. You can clearly see it labeled, and it's got that stripe, right? As you can see, the stripe is there. And yet there's this design right here and no Palm Beach. And you may be like, Jay, that doesn't prove that it's a different boat. Maybe we just can't see it, even though it should be right there, according to this picture. But if you look in this video, you can see that there is a black propeller right there. See black propeller, and you can very clearly see the Palm Beach right there on the side. And if you look really carefully in this photo, you can see right there a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these three boats. And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm going to assume the Palm Beach is on the other side, which
is a good
means there's four boats.
Sorry about that. Let's just rewind this really quick. Hold on.
Right there, a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these three boats. Okay. And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm going to assume the Palm Beach is on the other side.
So now we're looking at four boats, but hold on. The evidence gets even clearer. Hold on.
Which means there's four boats right here. Then I rewatched Warren's interview.
And I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. No one was not with me. And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddies, we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from 4x boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day.
So Wyatt had his buddy's boat already hooked up to the back of his truck. He said he and Wyatt and his other buddy went and got ice and filled up the boat. And Wyatt went and put the Palm Beach, his smaller boat, into the water. And we know that there was a second boat, the Triton, that was driven by Wyatt. Wyatt had two boats in the water. Who was driving his other boat?
Again, who was driving the other boat? If he, according to this photo evidence you just saw, now has two boats in the water.
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people.
Now, wait a minute. So Warren already had a boat hooked up when he woke up that morning. I'm assuming that that had to be the Triton that was hooked up, right? Then he said that Wyatt went and put his smaller boat, the Palm Beach, into the water. Then Warren said that he was the one who drove the Palm Beach to their friend's dock, assuming that Wyatt drove the Triton to the dock and Bart drove his own boat to that dock. Who drove the Palm Beach out to the water then? Because he said that he got a ride in with Bart, even though at one point during the interview, he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So it sounds to me like Warren was the one driving the Palm Beach. I'm also like, what parent would let their kid, who's obviously going off to party, take 2 of their boats and let their drunk friends drive? Like, it isn't making sense to me. I mean, maybe these parents are just shitty parents and irresponsible. Then he also said that he contacted Bart that morning to see if he could come. And Bart was like, yeah, I can give all your friends a ride, blah, blah, blah. According to him, there were 10-ish people, 15 people on that boat. So where were those people originally supposed to ride in on? They'd been planning it for weeks. They were excited about it. Why did Bart have to suddenly step in and take all these people? And
let's think about that. Why indeed?
And remember, Bart said that his dad had canceled going out on the boat that day, so he could do it. Something's not adding up here. I think there was an adult somewhere in this mix. It would also explain how they all thought quickly on their feet with the sea tow. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult didn't come out there and just go off with other adults that were also on Horn Island and let the kids hang out with the boats. Here's where things are going to get interesting, folks. There are more GPS coordinates in the report than what we have seen publicly. I'm going to play you a clip from the interview, but remember, at 5:30 is when they started picking up regular speed, all right? It's right here, 525, speed miles, 30 to 35 knots. So here we go.
Planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou. And we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water. And Wyatt, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So
Wyatt could hop back in. Let's keep going.
Then after that, we went and docked it. And I went back to my buddy's house and we ate. And, napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the islands.
Now, you heard him. He said that they took off going 40 miles an hour, and they didn't go to his buddy's grandparents' house, but they went to Fort Bayou to go do a plug thing. Except right here, 5:44, vessel arrives at El Camino Road. 8 minutes later, then it departs from El Camino Road and headed east into Fort Bayou. So right there, we have a lie. The boat did stop before going into Fort Bayou. 6 minutes.
Or which boat stopped before going into Fort Bayou? Because if they're all getting their alibi together, maybe they're all intermingling facts on the story. Which boat? But let's keep going.
Later, it comes back to El Camino Road, and the vessel departed El Camino Road half an hour later, headed southwest to St. Martin Bayou, and then turned southeast into Biloxi Bay Bridge. Then they went back to the Bayou boat launch. Then the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, which was Wyatt's residence. Now, because I am an absolute genius, I was able to find it. This was where they left and where they came back that day, then came back several times. Now, first off, why aren't we seeing footage of them returning that day? We know.
Now, this is an important point because they've been releasing footage left and right to TMZ about all this stuff. They even released. Why are they not releasing all the footage? Why can't we see one who got to the dock, who deplaned the dock? But more important, I want to see their body language or the way they were acting when they got back from Horn Island with Nolan, who mysteriously vanished. How were they moving? How were they acting?
That Nolan was with them when they left. So why do they have the security cams from that morning, but not that night? Whose grandparents live there? Jax Patalo, whose family owns a pharmacy. It goes back deeper than that because George Patalo Sr., which is Jax's great-grandfather who is deceased, as it turns out, his great-grandfather was appointed and served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. As you can see, I've confirmed Jax's relation to him. And as it turns out, Cliff Finch, well, he was in the Mississippi House of Representatives from 1960 to 1964 and supported racial segregation and backed the
Revolutionary salute to our family. Samuel Booker for getting his membership to the House of Revolution. Revolution is a way of life. I absolutely appreciate you, brother. Help me keep the lights on here at the House of Revolution. Salute, soldier.
racist governor, to preserve segregation in the state. The federal grand jury conducted a 3-year-long investigation into his administration and several state agencies, and they were all accused of corruption and mismanagement. Finch was never found guilty himself, but some of his aides and appointees were indicted. And those sort of political connections seem to trickle down through the generations. So now we know why the governor got involved. And I started looking into the lawyer that's handling the defamation case from the Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020, he was vice president of Stand Together while being vice president of Americans for Prosperity. Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit, and Americans for Prosperity is a libertarian conservative political advocacy group affiliated with Charles Koch and David Koch. And if you don't know who the Koch brothers are, they're fucking evil. Guess who's one of the major funders for Turning Point USA? Major donors for the Koch brothers also are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
You guys, did she not break it down? Did I not promise you that this was going to be a gold mine? But she gave us a lot of information. But I think the thing we 100% need to focus on, first of all, is was there another adult on that boat? Now, interestingly enough, it seems like there was another boat around, or at the very least, we need to know what happened to Wyatt's 2 boats. Because again, if Warren wasn't driving that time, who was actually driving? Keep in mind, TMZ and their soft launch, that there might have been another boat. Look at this. Nolan Wells' possible sighting of boat in newly surfaced video. They said they have footage. The Mac Daddy boat is clearly seen and appears to match the footage obtained by TMZ that day, which could be the final sighting of Nolan before his disappearance. The funny thing is, the clip was posted by a person who said they captured the footage around July 4th, 11:17 a.m. However, metadata shows the video was recorded at 2:23 p.m., making the sighting way earlier in the day. Now, I would like to see who did the metadata, because again, Mississippi, I think, is an hour behind New York City, and it might be 2 hours in front of California. So even though it does say 2:23, at this point, we are not believing TMZ's metadata until we actually see proof of an actual agent that actually does this for a living and verifies and risks their professional reputation on it, right? Again, Warren was seen in matching trunks on this boat. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying the Mac Daddy was the boat, but what I am saying is it is funny to me that after sleuths are finding this information, that TMZ is now soft launching the fact of there may have been other boats involved. I do want to say this. On Herd Island, when everybody knows that boy's drowned, why is it so hard why can't anyone come forward and say that they saw Nolan after his friends departed from the port? That is the one mystery that Warren's daddy's stupid $50,000 GoFundMe reward that looks like PR, their distasteful, disgusting GoFundMe where they use Nolan's name in order to try to get people that want Black people to shut up to fund, to go against Ben Crump and to sue him. Again, that's my opinion, what it looks like it's being used for, to go against Ben Crump and get him to shut up. It hasn't explained why Bart's lawyer is out there swinging, but everybody is not. It was their boat. What happened to Wyatt's 2 boats? Where did that 4th boat go? Who was driving it? And why doesn't the GPS coordinates and evidence match for any one boat for them to be where they should actually be? Again, Officer Tatum is so busy barking at Nolan's mom. Why would you actually ask your interviewees why their whole thing doesn't make sense? Because the only person, story, who hasn't changed at all is Nolan Mama's right. Everybody else keeps this, that, and the third. But we all know Officer Django is not going to do that. But shout out to his job and whatever else he's using to get himself rich. I hope it's worth it. But even though I think he'd do this for free. Anyway, y'all, listen, I will be live later. Let me know what
here for Nolan Xavier Wells. And I just had a thought. If you're wondering how big this cover up is, think about all those people on the island. Warren himself said it. There were hundreds of people. Boats were on top of each other. And we only have one video that pans the island for a second. And we supposedly hear that, give my effing phone back. Then Officer Race Tatum posts the pictures of the 7 boys allegedly on the boat. And then there's like a rope that looks like it's being towed, but that looks photoshopped. It looks like a fake rope. And just ask yourself how big this cover up must be that all of those kids, all under the age of 21, and there's no video, there's no pictures. Why would the friends delete their social media accounts? Because, of course, they probably took photos and pictures from that day. But you're telling me there's not more than one video that has emerged? There was that other video where they thought they saw Nolan on the boat, that, you know, the Real Daddy, Lil Daddy, Mac Daddy, whatever the boat's name is. So possibly only 2 videos from that day on the 4th of July. There's nobody playing beer pong. There's nobody chilling in the water. There was a fight. We know there was a fight because Trayston told, oh, yeah, man, he got into that fight. And you're going to tell me that nobody picked up their phone and started filming that fight? I can't believe it. In this day and age, it's not possible. This is not 1980. This is not 1990. Everybody has a phone and a camera and social media apps that encourage you to film everything. So ask yourself that. This cover up is so big. If it was an accidental drowning, nobody would have deleted their social media accounts, and we would see video and photos from the entire day documenting that entire day. And ask yourself this. Why did the boys decide to leave at 4:30 p.m.? Was it because their boat was taking on water, or did something happen? Because to me, that's odd behavior. Why would you get there at 11, only stay for 4 or 5 hours? Like, wouldn't you at least maybe stay till around, 5 or 6? The sun probably didn't set till 8, so they had plenty of time to get home. But again, this is one of the biggest cover-ups in recent history because hundreds of people are going radio silent and acting like they didn't take pictures or video that day. That is what Trayston is talking about when he says Ocean Springs has Ocean Springs back because they're covering it up. Allegedly. Secret Service.
He who concealeth the matter covers up sins. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. That is the brother Secret Service Sam, who has been following this case and is glad to see once again a Caucasian person pointing out all the discrepancies, which makes this case so enamoring, polarizing on both sides. But it's hard to believe, once again, on a July 4th day, the only video and pictures that we see are the pictures that are being systematically and methodically dripped out piece by piece to fit certain narratives. But the main thing that he focused on was a huge cover-up. It has to be a humongous cover-up for nobody to know anything. But on the other hand, maybe it's not a cover-up. Maybe it is, as I suggested in the title, a ritual killing, sacrifice killing. Many people don't know the history of human young child sacrifice on this land, and I'm going to go into some of that. But because it was July 4th, the 250th birthday of America, as they say, and I've been thinking about this. I didn't want to seem like a conspiracy theory and all those things, but somebody called me last night and, from another culture, and that's what they said, along with many other people. Many other people have been saying that this was a ritual sacrifice, and being that once again it was the celebration of the culmination of this nation, which was founded in 1776, which was the same date that the much maligned Illuminati was founded as well. And every 4th of July, they would perform these rituals. And what we call fireworks, they were bonfires where sometimes people were actually burned. Nevertheless, let's talk about this and how it relates to Nolan. I studied this a while back when I was in school right here in Goldsboro, North Carolina, when they made us take a culture class. And it talked about the different cultures, and many of the cultures in South America and America practice child sacrifice. Many of the Mesopotamian cultures and all those practice our child sacrifices, even mentioned in the Bible. But let me show you this one particular culture that practice sacrifice that reminds me, and I've been looking for it, but this reminds me of what I think happened to Nolan. And once again, this is about a South American culture, right? Well, let's read this paragraph. It says, months or even years before the sacrifice pilgrimage, the children were fattened up. Their diets were those of the elite, consisting of maize and animal proteins. They were dressed in fine clothing and jewelry and escorted to Cusco to meet the emperor, where a feast was held in their honor. More than 100 precious ornaments were found to be buried with these children in the burial site. Now, let's stop right there. Because once again, we see this in a lot of the, musical sacrifices. What they do, they lift the person up, right? They build this child up, like from the day this child is born, they know that this is going to be the sacrifice, right? So they give them the best diet, the best clothes. They hold a big feast in their honor. Everybody pretty much worship this person and uphold this person because they are special. They have to be young. They have to be pure. They have to have a bright light. Does that not describe Nolan? Does that not describe Nolan? Everybody in that town loved him. Everywhere he went, he was smiling. He had the best. He was reportedly a descendant of the great Ida B. Wells. So he was that star. He was that special sacrifice that they had to give to the gods, right? But let's continue. And this is where, once again, it gets more similar to what happened to Nolan. The Incan high priest took the children to high mountaintops for sacrifice. As the journey, Horns Island, was extremely long and arduous, especially so for the younger, cocoa leaves were fed to them. What are cocoa leaves? That is what cocaine, white girl, booger sugar, ski. That's what that is made out of. They gave them coca leaves to them to aid them in their breathing so as to allow them to reach the burial site alive. Upon reaching the burial site, the children were given an intoxicating drink to minimize their pain, their fear, and resistance. They were then killed either by strangulation a blow to the head, or by leaving them to lose consciousness in the extreme cold and die of exposure. Just look at me. Does that not sound like what we are understanding happened to Nolan Wells? You know, just follow me now. They said they took them on a journey. Where is this journey to? This journey is Horns Island. Take them out there. Now, the toxicology report hasn't came out yet, but they keep saying how he may have had cocaine. You know, so he was extremely drunk, right? So what did they do to these children? Yep, they got them high and they got them drunk, most of all, to alleviate fear, alleviate pain, and most of all, alleviate the resistance. No doubt Nolan probably wasn't going to go out without a fight. And that's why you keep seeing everybody saying, well, yeah, he was just drunk. He was just drunk. He was just drunk. Because we know that a few of the kids' parents have, you know, ties to the medical field that can get them drugs. Nevertheless, and then the last thing, which is essential to what happened to Nolan, is they were killed either one of three ways. By strangulation. What do we see with Nolan? No throat, and they're not releasing the autopsy. A blow to the head. Now, what did the little bit of information that came out from Crump's autopsy came? What, the little blow to the head? Or by leaving him? Okay, we're just going to leave him on the island drunk, passed out, and let him wander into the water alone. This, once again, I don't want to get it because some people don't believe these things happen, and they definitely do happen. And so I don't want to get into that. Like, you know, the people who founded this nation were not the best people. You know, they were involved in some very unspiritual things, and those things linger on. So every now and then they have to bring it back to remembrance. So for those of you who do not think that this is even plausible, let's look at Mississippi itself. Now, this is from the same article that talks about human sacrifice in the Americas. Let's go down here to North America. It says Mound 72 at the Mississippi Culture Site of Cahokia, directly across the Mississippi River from modern St. Louis, contained the remains of scores of clearly sacrificed female retainers, whatever that means, as well as 4 headless male skeletons. The roughly contemporaneous site, now what that means is recent, contemporary, the roughly contemporaneous site of Dixon Mound, some 100 miles to the north, also contained a mass grave with 4 headless male skeletons. And so where did this happen at? This happened in Mississippi. Where have a lot of these missing persons and lynchings happened at? Mississippi. And people think that lynching was just an act of evil. No, that was a ritual. You know, they brought, you know, dances, and they celebrated. They sent postcards out, meet us up. 12 is going to be like they cut pieces of the person off. They kept body parts. Like, this was very ritualistic to feed off the sorrow and pain of others. Like, it's something weird about, you know, the belief that when you hurt somebody else, it's somehow going to bring you joy. But evidently, that's what it was, because that's what we have been experiencing. So I can't deny it, because once again, I've studied history. Also, you remember last year at Camp Mystic, first of all, and I think that happened on July 4th. What happened? About 20 or 30, you know, white kids got washed away, if I'm not mistaken, right? They got washed away and drowned out. A lot of people feel like that was a ritualistic sacrifice. Like these things are not, you know, far-fetched when you know the history, when you know the evil and the demonic spirits that we face. As the scripture said, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against evilness, wickedness, darkness, rulers of the darkness, wickedness in high places. These are things that these people do to continue feeding those evil gods that they serve. And so I would just wanted to point that out because when I was reading, I've been looking for, you know, the description of the particular situation that describes what happened to Nolan. Once again, he was the fresh light. You have to give them young, fresh bodies, strong bodies too. You know, you have to snuff out that light. And that's what Nolan was. So he was on his track. He was on his way. Everybody loved him. You don't hear nobody say nothing good about him. He lived a pristine life. His parents were well off. You know, he was on to see the emperor. He was on to see the college world. He was going to be this major superstar. Nah. Okay, y'all ready? All right, he got to go. Not once again to discount as well his relationship with a prominent civil rights figure. Some people say that he is the last male descendant of the great Ida B. Wells. Once again, I can't confirm or deny that. But I just wanted to, because we keep asking ourselves all these questions. Why this? Why this? It has to be something that everybody in that community is okay with. If nobody's out there, but nah, man, I seen Nolan, man. He was over there, man. No, there's no, we have little Memorial Day, you know, get-togethers in this town that's real big. There's no way. I've been at locations like that. There's nobody in the way something's going to happen of that magnitude, and nobody knows nothing. So, like the brother Secret Sam said, it's either a huge cover-up, which it is, and in order to cover up, or why would they be covering up? This was a ritual sacrifice for the community, in my opinion, allegedly. You know, so y'all let me know what y'all think about this possible reason why this happened. We all know it happened. Like, I've been getting so many theories. Yeah, they dragged him under the boat. Yeah, they took a helicopter. The Navy SEALs got him. Oh, you know, I'm going to tell you, I don't know what happened, but I do know it happened. And now it's why did it happen? That's what people are trying to find out, why and how. And so this is one of the possible reasons that it was a ritual sacrifice, which has been known to be done on this land, not just in those instances I read, but in several other instances too. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. And that
trigger some of y'all, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway because it needs to be said. When a black man messes up in America, even if they don't mess up, if they just disagree with the Democratic Party, Roland Martin be the first person to call a town hall, circle all the wagons, call him a simple Simon, name called, drag him, try to put him on Front Street, embarrass him, and correct him publicly. My thing is this: when the shoe is on the other foot and it's Roland Martin, where's everybody with that same energy? Tasha K put out a video where she says,
so I got a call from a friend, okay? He's another blogger. And he said, Auntie Tasha, I said, what's up, baby? What's up with you? I said, what's up with you? He said, I just got some, you need to see this. I said, well, give it to me, baby, give it to me. And I'm not gonna say his name because I already know how they like to play with dissemination of, no, that's not what's going on here, okay? That man didn't disseminate no. The girl who shot the barn of Roland Martin in her house, in her bedroom, that's who you need to sue. We're going to talk about that on Monday. Okay, we'll unwind it just a little bit more on Monday.
Has Roland Martin in a compromising position with a woman who is not his wife. It's saying he's been extorted. The grounds of that extortion stem from some video footage. Tasha said she reached out to Roland Martin's team around midnight. They did not deny the existence of the tape. They did not deny the authenticity of the tape. In fact, they confirmed the authenticity of the tape, and they said instead they threatened to sue anybody who would show the tape or show pictures of the tape or what the tape contents are. Seems to me like you should be going after the person that's so-called extorting you instead of putting out threats to anybody that covers that you're being extorted. That's what I would think. The footage authenticity is not a question. They say there's a blogger out there that has the footage that was given to them by a woman who took the footage that was engaged in the activities with Roland Martin. Poetic Flacco went very detailed in the description.
Got real when they sent over proof of everything they are accusing Roland Martin of doing. So in the first video I received, Roland Martin is laid flat on his back on top of pillows.
You obviously watched this tape pretty closely. Oh, he has excellent recall of details.
And the good brother Roland Martin, he's taking it like a G. He's like
something about leopard print thongs. Not on the woman, on Roland. This is not a standard gossip recap. This is about accountability. I just want to remind everybody who Roland Martin is. Roland Martin's the same guy that whenever someone disagrees with him about politics, he skewers them. They can have a different political take, a different point of view, a different way they think is going to help the Black community. And here comes Roland Martin to tell them why they're wrong, to tell them why they are idiots, morons, lacking the intellectual power and prowess of Roland Martin.
All right, y'all, let me make this video real quick, okay? Like real quick. Tyrese, you do not know what you're talking about. That video where you're talking about an anti-Asian crime bill, that is a lie.
That whole Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high, he's never gone high before.
Oh, so your argument, Stephen A., is that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett should be watching her tone and what she's saying, because she needs to watch how she talks, because she's got to work with this man to get stuff for her district. I've already explained to you, Stephen A., that every member, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, you get a maximum of 15 requests.
He's always gone low, and his audience likes it. So I'm hoping they will like this video too. Roland Martin is talking about suing anybody who talks about the story or shows the pictures. And I don't have pictures to show. I don't know if I'd show them. I don't even think YouTube is the correct format or forum to show such imagery. I think it would be inappropriate. So his threat doesn't apply to me. It does bring the question, once you're going after the young lady you had a relationship with outside of your marriage, Roland, why make this about people making a living discussing things they would discuss, whether it was Genuine or Usher or 50 Cent or Rihanna or Nicki Minaj? I mean, you'd have no problem. That's the thing I want to say. One of the most hypocritical things about these liberal media in times is they will protect their own, but they would not apply that same protection to the wider society. In fact, we all know that if this was anybody of the Republican ilk, anybody with independent, truly independent, but I'm just wondering, what are people thinking as this news breaks? This is despicable. He's not denying. Remember, he did not deny this. He did not say, that's not me. He admitted that's him on the tape. He knew about the tape. He knows about the footage. He's just concerned about the circulation of the footage. Not that the footage exists. It doesn't sound like it was taped without his knowledge. Because then we'd be talking about something else, wouldn't we? Instead of asking Tasha K or telling Tasha K anybody who shows the photos is going to get sued, he'd be trying to find out where the footage was, who had the footage, so he could find them because he was surveilled without his knowledge, which leads me to right where I'm at. Or back to my point. The more fiber, this man needs to be questioned. I mean, we went out to Andrew Gillum. A lot of people went after Andrew Gillum. Andrew Gillum has an issue. He has a drug. He apparently has a drug condition, an addiction to drugs. And we've had people in our families that we love the hell out of that have that. So, some grace is in order. So now we're hearing that Roland has a sexual addiction. Is that he's going to go the way of Kirk Franklin? Addicted to porn. I'm not here to smear Roland Martin. He did the smearing for me. What I'm here to do is say, when the shoe is on the other foot, how does Roland conduct himself? Roland, when it's someone else, how do you behave? Horrible. Not a man of integrity, not a man that has dirt on his own front doorsteps, but as a man who's saintly even, above it all. How does his staff act when he is dissing, dismissing, degrading, and shaming us poor little YouTubers with our USB mics?
All y'all gonna make your little videos, and I'm gonna close with this here. See, I don't need to get clicks mentioning your name because your names are meaningless. Because if I add 10 of y'all up, you still don't equal this audience. So you're going to need to use my name to get you some clicks. So I'm going to go ahead and help you.
They're just as arrogant as he is. And why? Because a white news station put him on for about 2 minutes and allowed him to shill for Obama. And then Hillary. And then when he went too hard to the wall shilling for Hillary, they clipped his wings. Look, I don't have a staff to check it, but it seemed to me like Tasha K doesn't want a lawsuit. So she's lying that Roland's team admits that this tape exists and the authenticity is valid, then, hey, it is what it is. Then my criticism of Roland is concrete, it's sound. Will Roland face his audience with the same amount of accountability that he would demand that others face their audience with? Or will they just make excuses? Talk about, this is not important. As long as he gives me the news I want. How often does Roland's news reporting slide into the personal realm and the attacking realm of others? Often. All the time. Roland be rolling in the dirt. At the drop of a hat. With no concern of other people's credibility or feelings. If they're uncomfortable, I'm sure Roland's uncomfortable about this. Roland, my name is Tim Black. You're welcome to come on the Tim Black Show and clear it up. Is that you on the tape that I haven't seen? Don't know if I want to see it. But is that going to be you that we see? For journalistic purposes, I will have to take a look at it. For my commentary, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just to prove it's not bogus. So everything up to this point, I guess, is allegedly, because I haven't laid eyes on it yet. Will Roland stand up and say, hey, I'm accountable, I screwed up, or will he hide behind this extortion victim shit? Will he pretend that someone trying to get a dollar out of him for not telling is the same as him doing to begin with? Because I want to see his critics and his friends hold him accountable. Stephen A. Smith, do you think that if Roland Martin got news of you being caught in a compromising such position and was cheating on your wife, though you're not married, just imagine. So do you think Roland would not talk about it? Shamichael Singleton, do you believe that Roland Martin would avoid discussing your sordid details if there were those that existed? I have no reason to believe that Roland Martin would take the high road when it comes to anybody whose name he has thrown dirt on over the last 5 years. I being one of those people, I have a good idea he would not pull punches. He'd say, see, get my iPad. There you go. See what they do? And these is who you get your news from? That's who you listen to? Simple Simons. That's what Roland would do. He would drag anyone at any opportunity to prove his point that he should be the only person that anybody ever listens to when it comes to political commentary. And if you learn nothing at all from this latest update of news regarding Roland Martin, you learn that maybe not putting all your eggs in one basket, the Roland Martin Unfiltered basket, might be a good idea. It might be good, cautious for you to have multiple baskets. Because he obviously has multiple faces when it comes to his private life and his personal life and his public life. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Is this just an embarrassing moment that's isolated, or is this more of a symptom of a moral failure of Roland Martin? It is his knee-jerk response to threaten lawsuits against the poor black media, who, as he says, all y'all together don't add up to me. All of us together are not being dragged by Tasha K either, are we? Give me a 1 in the comment section below if you believe.
Well, I want y'all to listen to this video here because Clyburn, he's going to be on one, ladies and gentlemen. We got to talk about Clyburn tonight. Let's go ahead and check this out.
You stopped it and enabled, I think some would argue.
Well, when the white vote turned out 71% 2 years ago, and the black vote turned out 59%, you tell me whose fault that is.
I guess
only 59% of African Americans went to the polls 2 years ago.
It's tough for me personally to blame black voters for the last election more than it is to blame President Joe Biden.
That's the fact. It wasn't Joe Biden on the ticket. It was Kamala Harris on the ticket.
For 107 days after he decided
on the ticket.
I guess I just wanted to see if there was a clear political lesson you took from that moment and whether you think something applies in this kind of larger democratic rethink after. But I hear you. You're saying that you think it was a media problem. It was a branding problem. It was a candidate problem.
I didn't say that. The media had nothing to do with that 59%. If that 59% had been 69%, she would have won.
I guess, so is the argument that black people let Kamala Harris down?
In many instances, absolutely. If you don't show up to vote, what are you doing?
I'll just hear Clyburn. Clyburn set up here and gonna blame black voters for this woman not winning. And I know we talked about this before. I'm like, Clyburn, first of all, you are what, the second year of Trump's term, midterms about to come up. Why are you even discussing the 2024 election? The bottom line, Clyburn, is that she didn't win. Black people chose the couch, and that's why he's the president. And also, not just black people, y'all invested heavy into the Latino community during the Biden administration, and they didn't show up for you to vote. So I never want to hear about black people, because let me tell you something. You would have had 100%, maybe even 95% black voter turnout if you'd invested the same amount of resources and time into FBAs like you did all those people who's immigrating here. I can't even say you were doing it for Hispanic Americans. You were doing it for those who's coming from all these different countries. You didn't do America first. You sure didn't do black Americans first. So if you don't do nothing for us, you can't expect us to show up. If you let the well run dry, you can't go get a bucket of water out of it. You chose to do that, or your party at least chose to do that. Clyburn, we're not listening to that crap, bro. We're not. But while we talking about you, why don't you go retire? Why don't you go home to your family and let a young brother or sister get in that seat out of South Carolina? You know, like, what are you doing up there? We have all these people out in Congress, and they do need age limits and term limits. And that's what they're afraid of. They know when the younger people take over, it's going to be age limits and term limits. It needs to be. It definitely needs to be. My opinion, the Congress, it don't matter who they are, should have the same amount of term like the president. They can serve 2 4-year terms and they out. And that way you don't have all these conflicting elections and every 2 years in an election. That gets annoying. Let's just have every 4 years, we have president, Congress, everything every 4 years. 2 4-year terms, they out. Supreme Court, you do 1 10-year term, you're out. That's it. Nobody have forever jobs, because they make you out of touch when you have a forever job, especially those in that Congress. But them days of blaming FBA, oh, it's black, it's y'all fault or whatever. Well, keep blaming us. And if y'all don't do nothing for us, we're not going to show up again. And if you don't do nothing for us, then we're not going to show up again and again and again and again until you get tired. Because we're not tired choosing our couch. We're not tired at all. Our couches are very comfortable. The fact is, people like you, sir, worry about your seat. We don't care about your seat. Forget your seat. You ain't done nothing for black folks as a whole in that seat. That's my thing. You worry about all these congressional black caucus seats going to be in jeopardy because of the Supreme Court decision. So what? What did they do for us in those seats? Black Americans not carrying this country on our back. And if we're going to carry the country on our back, well, you know what? Everybody else get out the way. Let FBAs run this country then. If we got to carry it on our back, then we need to be all the people in Congress. We need to be the president. We need to be all everybody that works on the president's administration. We need to be all the federal judges. We need to be all the Supreme Court judges. We need to be all those things. If you want us to carry the country on our back, we're supposed to be the mule. We're supposed to carry everything on our back while other groups benefit. Hell no. Other groups are in this country. They want to benefit. They get they behind registered. Get out the vote too. Not choosing the couch. When I looked at the numbers, the Hispanic community chose the couch more than we did. But you don't talk about them sitting out the election. They had more to lose in that election than black people. They should have been out the one voting 95, 100% for Kamala Harris. And they did not. You know why? Because half of them think they're white. And they find out real quick, oh, no, you're not white. I know you want to be white, but you're not. And the real white folks showing you. And that's good. I love, listen, white America, you keep giving these other groups a wake-up call. I support you when you do that. You let them know who the real white people is. Let them know. Because some of these other groups have gotten beside themselves. They thinking they you. So now you're having to start pulling rank. And that's okay. I'm glad you're pulling rank on them. You've been needing to do that. Pull your rank. So you can make us right about everything we ever said. These people come over here and become an op. I'm like, we don't need no ops over here. We got enough of that. That's people who are citizens. We don't need people being imported to be an op too. So Clyburn, he can get on with that. All that blaming black people, that doesn't move the needle at all. We don't care. Blame us all you want. If Tallarico loses in Texas, black people, you didn't show up. We sure didn't. If I'm just saying, if Ken Paxton wins, good. I'm saying not because I support him or Republicans, because I don't. But in other words, if you don't want to do right by black people, you will lose. And we need to keep doing that until you say, okay, all right, black people, we got to give you what you want now because we can't not be losing too many more elections. And it's not hard to do something for black people. There's a lot of you don't want to do it. And that, like I said, once again, that's okay. You just keep losing elections and then we'll just force you to do it. And forcing you to do it is actually a lot better for us because at least we get respect out of that one. Look, going on the days, well, I know they're not perfect, but they better than the Republicans. That don't work. That don't work. We don't care about that. We're not scared of that. We got Republicans in office. Some of us live in Republican states, and we're doing just fine. A lot of us are successful. A lot of us are educated. A lot of us are living a good life in these so-called Republican states. So you can't scare us by, ooh, the Republicans going to get you. No. Look at my brothers and sisters in Atlanta. Georgia is a Republican state. Maybe Fulton County isn't. But Georgia's a Republican state. Look how successful black people are. How many black people have moved and flocked to Atlanta? A red state. How many black people have flooded Houston? A whole lot. A red state. And doing very well in these red states. So you can't really scare us with that. The Republicans gonna get you stuff. You can't scare us with that. It don't work anymore. Propaganda y'all spewing don't work anymore. Because beyond with you know what really breaks y'all propaganda real good? AI. If a person using AI, boy, that propaganda get broke down quick. Everyone say, oh, they lying. Oh, it's this, that. I didn't know that. You know, so we have more access to tools of fact checking and research now than we ever did. And I'm so glad we have that as black people, or just Americans in general. I'm so glad that we have that. But yeah, Clyburn, he mad about Kamala. Man, please. You better be worrying about 2028 and see who y'all gonna choose to run. Don't run AOC because that's she gonna lose. Bernie Sanders, no, he's geriatric, no. Gavin Newsom, no. That stunt he pulled the California Reparations Commission, not him. I would not be in support of him. He would have to pull off the biggest Hail Mary before he got out of office in California to change that. And he not trying to do it. So who y'all gonna have run? What, Wes Moore? I think that's probably the only one y'all probably would maybe can run is Wes Moore at this point. If y'all gonna convince him or not. But who gonna run for y'all? And just because let's say even if you do select Wes Moore as your guy, there's no guarantee he'll get the black vote. Because black people not voting on, oh, he look like me, I'm gonna vote for him. Nope, that don't work no more. We learned that from Obama. Just because he's somebody black, they got to bring tangibles too. Actually, it's more pressure on them to bring tangibles than it would be even a white person. So that's that. So yeah, Clyburn, you know, that guilt trip and shaming tactics, that's over, buddy. You better go figure out some way to give us some time.
Other black people who are out here supporting Trump, you cannot tell me that his policies are good for black Americans. Are they? So why are black
And they always come at us with Trump. What are you doing? What about your policies? Sell us on your policies. It's like their policies don't even make sense to where they gotta say, they just talking about black people that vote for Trump. They can't even speak to people who want to see, what are you doing for us?
Might have to drop a dime on them.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
All right, y'all, we back on this video, man. Y'all know how we do. Always pushing health, wealth, and a better understanding of self. So in this video, y'all, we are going over the dismantle and the destruction of the Congressional Black Caucus. It's over with, finally. Y'all know I did a lot of videos on this channel about we are sick of the Black Caucus. They don't do nothing. They work for other cultures. They don't work for us. They never did anything. And now we seeing that Nancy Grace has been very vocal on canceling all of the caucus. Now, she named specifically the Black Congressional Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, and the Asian Pacific Caucus, which is, it's like all of this came after the Black Caucus. So the Black Caucus was down with just diluting our own organization that we had to help us with our problems to now just, you know, giving everybody a caucus. They got a Caribbean caucus. They got over 200 groups and organizations that's linked to these caucus that does who knows what. They haven't been doing anything for us. All the money that they've been getting. I went over stats with y'all to show y'all that the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation gets money, okay, donations from other big companies, big businesses, okay, and it's to give people scholarships, but it's basically to keep this black that don't do nothing for the community going on. It's to fund this, and this is why we've had so many black people in politics that we don't even know them for doing anything impactful. They give them little things to do or anything, but we don't know nobody besides when the Black Panther Party and before then, the organizations that was happening, before the Civil Rights Movement, we have seen zero, nothing. We're all for them just tearing the Black Caucus down and stop having black people using black people to gain motion and traction on legislation.
I'm gonna need y'all Democrat puppet shields and politicians to stop talking to us about losing representation. We don't give a damn about y'all losing y'all seats. We don't give a damn about y'all being black. Y'all haven't done nothing for us, man. We over that all that identity politics, man, that's over with. That's a wrap. That game is done being played. You got a few people that still hold on to that, but they gonna catch on and realize y'all the biggest enemy. Man,
when we see how y'all advocated for immigrants over your constituents, over people that can actually go to the polls and vote for you, and every time we talk about something, y'all give us excuses, talk to us like we children, talk to us like we don't deserve anything, talk to us like you can't do anything specifically for the people that you asking to come out and vote. Fuck y'all. We don't give a damn about y'all. The Supreme Court decision, man, we don't give a damn. That ain't affecting us. That just means that you do not have an easy pathway back to Washington, D.C., which has absolutely nothing to do with us. Why should we care? Y'all don't care about our plight. Y'all don't care about our struggle. Y'all haven't delivered anything. Man, I can't wait to see how many y'all gonna lose y'all seat. If it was up to me, I would dismantle the whole Congressional Black Caucus. That is a useless organization. They're a do-nothing organization. And all y'all that take money from AIPAC should be dismissed any goddamn way.
Okay, now taking money from AIPAC, we know that AIPAC funds the right and the left. And we got people on both sides. Okay, we see with Officer Tatum and we see with the Democrats. You know, it's still, we don't see much structure from people that look like us when they're in politics. Even for the little influencers that, you know, push for these politics, we don't see the care or trying to get us going on the right path. What we've seen before in the 60s, the Black Wall Street, and how we was able to move until, you know, that Dr. Martin Luther King and that integration came in. But listen to how the Republicans feel too on feeling the pressure on saying Black people getting out of politics and on the right, on the Republican side.
There's been a lot of talk how there won't be any Black Republican members in the new term. Yeah. What do you make of that?
Nothing. I don't understand how that's relevant.
Is there a problem like recruitment? Or
I don't think it's a problem with anything. I'm not here because I'm Black. I am here because I'm qualified representative for Congressional District 38, and the American people choose who they want to choose. Yeah. And the one thing I don't want to get into is this game of race bait all day, every day. If there's 4, if there's 10, if there's none, what we are talking about is who is the best person that is best qualified to fill a seat, regardless of the way that they look. And I tell people this all the time till I'm blue in the face. I represent a white majority district that President Trump would have won by over 20 points, and I won by 25 points the last time I ran. I'm being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. I don't care how many Black people are here. I want the most qualified people that are here.
And
thank you.
Oh, got it. Thank you, Harrison.
All right, so here's a little clip of the Congressional Caucus, the head himself, okay? Speaking in how delusional he is to what's really going on how everyone feels about the Black Caucus. Check it out.
There are a lot of Black people who are out here supporting Trump. You cannot tell me that his policies are good for Black Americans. Are they? So
I guess. And they always come at us with Trump. What are you doing? What about your policies? Sell us on your policies. It's like their policies don't even make sense to where they gotta say, they just talking about Black people that vote for Trump. They can't even speak to people who want to see, what are you doing for us? It's like they want to put us in this battle of Trump and the Democrats. Speak on what you're doing for us.
Black people supporting him.
It might be because the Democratic Party hasn't delivered. Like, it might be because the leaders of investment and neoliberal democratic politics has not changed their communities, right? Like,
that's exactly what it is. That's why we got people trying to they're like, yo, we got to try something. You keep, if you keep trying something that you know ain't working, this is why you got people doing that. And they understand that it's just their time is up right now, family. It's over with. They can't sell this no more. Even Roland Martin is switching his tune. All of these content influencers are switching their tunes now because they know, you're looking stupid by just saying Democrat, vote blue no matter who.
Couldn't they be voting not just for Republicans, but against Democrats?
Well, don't vote at all. Isn't that what you said?
I guess I wanted to say that I feel like when we talk to a lot of the Democratic base, we hear a desire for accountability from their own leadership. a leadership they feel like has not delivered, a leadership they feel like made some political stumbles for Donald Trump to return. I guess I was asking, do you share any of that
No, I
and feel
don't.
that? No, and you're saying no.
I'm saying no. I'm saying that's what you
Okay.
said. They don't tell me that. Why?
They don't tell you that?
Why are my constituents telling you stuff they won't tell me?
I guess I find it a little hard to believe that you haven't heard the Democrats say they're mad at their own party leadership right now. That feels pervasive. You know, like we just saw Adriano Espaillat lose in New York. We just saw the incumbent win in Colorado.
Yeah.
You have a Democratic Socialist Line candidate leading in the Wisconsin governor's primary. Those things feel like an evidence of a Democratic Party base who is searching for something different. Do you think that's true?
Well, it all depends on why. I mean, where are they getting their messages from? I just think that a lot of it has to do with whoever the nominee is or whoever the candidate is, and whether or not they do a good job of campaigning. Yeah,
You're saying it's up to the individual candidate.
Absolutely.
All right, so here's what some of, the YTs are feeling about the Black Caucus. Okay, they already see, it's kind of like a Black Lives Matter, but a real political organization that just uses the name of Black people and Black people's pain and trauma to throw that into politics to get us to vote. But check this out. I want to know what y'all think.
They watched Black Democrats and all Democrats, and actually it was created by the progressive, right out of Woodrow Wilson's time. They watched while Black America, which is parity, we've discussed this before, intact families, dads at home, rising economically, ownership growing, and they watched while their own political leaders, while their communities were bulldozed, and then they were forced people into these crap hole apartment complexes that were just dens of murder and crime and destruction of the family.
The people who made Ralph Brown, Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X, that was the popular, like Tom Wolfe said, the Mau Mau crowd, the Upper West Side. And they thought that Martin Luther King and Ralph Abernathy.
Exactly. You see them other people, the first one he named, the Carmichaels, the Rap Browns, shout out the Black Panther Party, Malcolm X. The Black Caucus and the Democrats, they are the opposite of those people. We're seeing that now. They have nothing to do with those kind of people that really have action and they're really about steps that's going to get the community uplifted. But none of these new politicians, we haven't seen the Barack Obamas, Jesse Jack, any of them. They can't even, be in the same sentence as some of the greats.
And all those guys were fuddy-duddies, stick in the mud. And those people had grown up with stable Black communities where the abortion rate, the divorce rate, the marriage rate, home ownership were not that much different than middle-class whites.
But Condoleezza Rice, for example.
Condoleezza Rice is a perfect example of somebody's who came from a very successful family, very stable, and race was incidental, not essential, as in her career as far as career advancement. So, but they wanted, the white idea was, we're going to tell you what to do, and here's what's good for you. The $64,000 question is this: to what degree did they know that those policies of pouring $20 trillion into the Black communities and basically telling them that you don't have to worry about getting to college because we're going to give you 250 points on the SAT? Oh my God. Well, he got into Harvard, but he can't do what my son does at Harvard because he really did 250 points lower in the SAT. Or, oh my God, I really like the idea of defund the police. I love the idea of no cash bail, but I saw that suspicious guy in my neighborhood and I don't want to be around him. Kind of like Jesse Jackson saying, when I hear steps, I look around and I'm relieved it's not a Black teenager. Well, you were created a Black teenager. So
take a bow, Democrats.
Yeah, they created a.
They know they wanted that prison industrial. This is what APEC sending them their money is to keep us into the situation of where we are filling in the prisons. That's what they're trying to do, have control to keep this going. And we understand the play right now. You know, we're not trying to fill up your prisons no more.
And now they're going, it's called, the Greeks would call it hubris, and that draws the attention of nemesis, and you end up with ate or destruction. And that's what's going to happen to them, I think, unless somebody gets, you know.
No, y'all, it's over with for the Congressional Black Caucus. Even if, you know, it wasn't all of this, they didn't have any more power over Black people no more. We're not listening to them because, you know, you gotta have some substance. You gotta have some real wins. They don't have no wins. So it's like only a matter of time. This is how the YT do you. They just use you up until you have no impact, and then they get rid of you. So we got to now look at any other sources because they know that, man, we done used up the Black people in the Black face so much that it's not going to work anymore just putting a Black person up there and saying all the things that we wanted to say. So now they're getting to these influencers, these content creators, somebody like Officer Tatum, Antoine Daniels. They're going to get some of these guys and make these guys more political, but from a entertainment perspective. Because Black politicians, y'all don't got it, bro. Y'all are paid not to do it. So it's not even that you don't got it. So, but I want to know what y'all think about this in the comment section, man. I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace and love.
Coffee. Follow me.